In today's episode, we're diving into everything related to the Philadelphia Eagles. These are exciting times for the team, especially when you consider how much the world of football is always evolving. And as we break down the latest developments, we want you to be part of this conversation. You, the viewer, are an essential part of the content we create. Whether you have questions, want to share your opinions, or just enjoy a good discussion about the Eagles, this space is open for you, not to contribute. We're all about offering insightful, engaging, and entertaining content that pushes you to think more about the game we all love. So make sure you're subscribed and actively participating. Now, let's talk about one of the most debated positions on the Eagles roster, tight end. With Dallas Goedert having been a key player for the team, there's been a lot of speculation about his future with the Eagles. Recently, Goedert signed a restructured contract, which reduced his cap hit for the team. This move has sparked a lot of conversations. While this decision was a smart one, considering Goddard's immense contribution to the offense, there are still concerns about whether he can stay healthy throughout the season, especially with the frequency of injuries affecting the wide receiver corps. Now, looking at the Eagles' depth chart at tight end, it's clear that Goedert remains the centerpiece of that group. He's an elite tight end, arguably one of the most well-rounded players in the league at his position. He excels at gaining yards after the catch. His hands are reliable, and he can make plays down the field with impressive route running skills. He's also a formidable blocker, which only adds to his value on the field. Behind him, there's Grant Calcaterra, who has shown a lot of promise as a young tight end, but it's uncertain whether he can fully take on the role of being a starting tight end if Goedert were to miss significant time. The Eagles also have other solid contributors in Harrison Bryant and Kylan Granson, who provide additional depth. Bryant is valuable in the red zone, and Granson has proven himself as a capable blocker. When asked whether Calcaterra could step in and replace Goedert if needed, it's tough to say. While Calcaterra has potential, he's not quite at Goddard's level. However, if the Eagles decide to move forward without Goedert, or if his injuries continue to be a problem, they may want to look into drafting another tight end. For now, the current depth at tight end remains strong. And with Goedert still in the mix, the Eagles are in a good position. Then there's the discussion about Justin Simmons, the safety for the Denver Broncos. Some viewers have wondered whether the Eagles should go after Simmons as a mentor for the defense. Justin Simmons has been an all-pro selection multiple times and has been one of the most consistent defensive backs in the NFL over the past few seasons. His familiarity with defensive coordinator Vic Fangio's system, which he's played under for a while, makes him an intriguing option. Simmons has recorded over 30 interceptions in his career, showing his ability to impact the game. He's also been incredibly durable, having played more than 13 games in 8 of his 9 seasons in the league. Would Simmons be a good fit for the Eagles? While the team doesn't necessarily need a player like Simmons, bringing him on board could have a lot of benefits. He'd be a great leader and mentor in the locker room and could add depth to a defense that's already one of the best in the league. Given that he's not a primary need, his value would be more in terms of leadership and experience, which could be valuable for the Eagles, especially with the youth on their roster. Adding a player like Simmons to the mix would certainly provide depth, and while his contract would not come at a huge cost, it's something worth considering. It's all about maximizing the resources available and ensuring the defense stays sharp and ready for the challenges ahead. Looking ahead to the NFC East, it's clear that the competition is heating up. The Dallas Cowboys, in particular, made a big move by trading for George Pickens, a talented wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. While Pickens' emotional state might raise some questions about his consistency, his physical traits are undeniable. Standing at 6'4" Pickens has a massive wingspan and the ability to make incredible catches. When he's playing at his best, he's one of the most dangerous wide receivers in the league. This addition to the Cowboys' offense makes them even more formidable. Pairing Pickens with CeeDee Lamb creates a dynamic duo that will be difficult for any defense to stop. The Steelers didn't get much in return for Pickens, only a third-round pick in 2026 and a late-round pick. But for the Cowboys, this move is about adding firepower to their offense. They've struggled in the past with a lack of consistency at the receiver position, and Pickens brings that spark they've been looking for. However, his contract situation is something to keep an eye on. Pickens is in the final year of his contract, which could motivate him to play at an even higher level. This situation adds an interesting layer of drama as the NFC East looks to be one of the most competitive divisions in the league for the upcoming season. The Washington Commanders are another team in the division that's made significant strides. After a surprise run to the NFC Championship in 2024, they'll be looking to build on that momentum. While they didn't make as many flashy moves in the offseason, the Commanders did bring in some key players through free agency and the draft, strengthening their roster and adding depth. The New York Giants, too, have been active in the offseason. They selected Abdul Carter with their first pick, a linebacker with tremendous upside. Additionally, they made moves to develop their young quarterback, Jackson Dart, who has the potential to be a starter in the future. The Giants also added key players like Darius Alexander, Marcus B.A., and Cam Scatterbo, all of whom will contribute immediately. The NFC East is shaping up to be a battle, and the Eagles are going to have their hands full. They'll need to keep an eye on their divisional rivals and ensure they don't let up. The competition is fierce, and every game within the division is going to matter more than ever. As for the Eagles roster, there are several positions that could see changes before the season begins. There's been talk about potentially trading for a cornerback, although the team already made a selection in the draft. The depth in the secondary is solid, but if there's an opportunity to upgrade, it's something the Eagles will have to consider. There's also some concern about the wide receiver position. While the team has solid options, a trade could be necessary if a player doesn't develop as expected. The running back position, too, could be a point of focus, as the team didn't address it in the draft. As we look forward to the season, the Eagles' focus will be on staying healthy and continuing to develop their young talent. The depth they've built across the roster is impressive, but they'll need everyone to step up and contribute if they want to make another deep playoff run. The competition in the NFC East will be fierce, and every game will count in what promises to be one of the most exciting seasons in recent memory. As the Eagles prepare for the upcoming season, one of the most discussed topics is their approach to bolstering their roster, especially with the depth they've already established. The team has made significant moves over the past few seasons, building a roster that is capable of competing at the highest level. But with the NFC East becoming even more competitive, the Eagles are going to face serious challenges, not only from their division rivals, but also from teams across the league who have made aggressive moves of their own. The defensive side of the ball has been one of the Eagles' strengths in recent years, and that trend looks set to continue. The defense, led by defensive coordinator Sean Desai, is a well-oiled machine that can dominate in all areas. The team's ability to generate pressure on opposing quarterbacks has been a huge factor in their success. This is a team that knows how to rush the passer, create turnovers, and make life difficult for offenses, especially those that rely heavily on the passing game. The addition of more depth in key positions, particularly in the secondary, would give the Eagles another layer of protection against high-powered offenses. The defense already has players like Darius Slay and James Bradbury, who can lock down top receivers, while the defensive line is loaded with talent, including the likes of Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. Having this kind of depth allows the Eagles to rotate players in and out, keeping them fresh and healthy throughout the season. But while the defense is strong, the offense is where the team needs to continue to develop. Quarterback Jalen Hurts has been nothing short of exceptional, but the question remains whether he can continue to perform at an elite level. Hurts has shown flashes of brilliance, particularly during his MVP caliber season in 2023. But he has yet to consistently prove that he can carry the team through a full season and into the playoffs. The Eagles are banking on Hurts' continued progression and improvement, and they've made moves to ensure that he has the weapons he needs to succeed. The addition of A.J. Brown last season was a huge step in the right direction, but the team could still use another reliable target to pair alongside Brown and Devonta Smith. While the receiving core is solid, there are still question marks surrounding the tight end position, and with Dallas Goedert dealing with injury concerns, the Eagles could be in a position to add another playmaker. This is a team that thrives on balance, and ensuring that Hurts has a well-rounded group of weapons at his disposal will be crucial to the Eagles' offensive success. As mentioned earlier, Grant Calcaterra and other tight ends are expected to step up, But the question remains whether they can truly replicate the production and impact that Goddard brings to the table when he's healthy. The Eagles' offensive line is one of the best in the league, and with players like Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce leading the way, they've built a strong foundation for their offense. But even with one of the top offensive lines in the league, the Eagles are still relying on Hurts to make the right decisions in key moments. He's shown his ability to elevate the play of his teammates, but there are still questions about his consistency, particularly in the postseason. When it comes to the NFC East, it's clear that the competition is only going to get tougher. The Washington Commanders, after their impressive run to the NFC Championship, will be looking to build on that momentum. With a young, talented roster and an aggressive approach in free agency and the draft, the Commanders have positioned themselves as a team that could surprise a lot of people this season. Their quarterback situation is still in flux, but the potential for growth is certainly there. And with a solid defense led by a strong pass rush, they could pose a serious threat to the Eagles' crown. Then there are the New York Giants, who have quietly built a solid team under head coach Brian Daboll. The Giants had a solid draft, adding key players like Abdul Carter, who has the potential to be a game changer on defense. The team also made moves to develop their young quarterback, Jackson Dart, who could provide a spark for the offense in the near future. With players like Saquon Barkley in the backfield, the Giants are poised to take another step forward in their development, and they could be a real contender in the NFC East if things break their way. As for the Dallas Cowboys, they've made one of the most notable moves of the offseason by acquiring George Pickens, a wide receiver with incredible potential. Pickens has the physical tools to be a top-tier receiver in the league, but his emotional ups and downs have caused some concerns. His relationship with quarterback Dak Prescott will be something to watch closely, as the Cowboys desperately need another reliable weapon in their offense. Pickens is a dynamic playmaker, and when he's at his best, he can be a difference maker for the Cowboys. His ability to make spectacular catches and his size make him a perfect complement to CeeDee Lamb in the receiving game. But with Pickens entering the final year of his contract, there's a sense of urgency for him to perform at the highest level. And that could be a motivating factor for him as he heads into what could be a career-defining season. The NFC East is shaping up to be a slugfest this season, and the Eagles are going to have their hands full. The competition is fierce, and every game within a division will be crucial to securing a playoff spot. The Eagles have been the dominant team in the division for the past few years, but with their rivals making bold moves to strengthen their rosters, they can't afford to take anything for granted. The key to their success will be maintaining their health and ensuring that every player steps up when needed. The depth on the roster is impressive, but it's the star players who will ultimately determine whether the Eagles can continue their reign at the top of the NFC East. Offensive coordinator Brian Johnson and defensive coordinator Sean Desai will play huge roles in how the Eagles perform this season. Johnson will need to continue to find creative ways to maximize Hurts' potential and make sure the offense remains dynamic. Desai, on the other hand, will need to keep the defense at a high level, ensuring they remain one of the top units in the league. The ability to adjust to different opponents and handle adversity will be critical for both sides of the ball. Looking ahead to the rest of the NFC, the Eagles' biggest challenges will likely come from teams like the San Francisco 49ers, who have built a well-rounded roster with one of the best defenses in the league. The 49ers are a team that will be tough to beat in the postseason, and the Eagles will need to be at their best when they face off against teams like them. But with their depth, experience, and talent across the roster, the Eagles have everything they need to compete for another Super Bowl appearance. The NFC East will be tough, but the Eagles have the tools to come out on top. As we move closer to the season, the Eagles' focus will remain on fine-tuning their roster and making sure they're ready for the challenges ahead. The NFC East is only getting stronger, and the competition for the top spot will be fierce. But with their combination of talent, leadership, and depth, the Eagles are more than capable of continuing their dominance in the division and making another run at the championship. The stage is set for what promises to be an exciting season, and all eyes will be on Philadelphia to see if they can maintain their spot as one of the league's top teams. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Philadelphia Eagles have landed a major piece for their defense with the confirmed signing of veteran safety Justin Simmons. After weeks of speculation and mounting anticipation, Simmons has officially committed to donning the midnight green, giving the Eagles a much-needed boost in their secondary. Known for his intelligence, range, and leadership, Simmons' arrival could be the missing link for a Philadelphia defense looking to return to its dominant form. At 30 years old, Simmons brings a wealth of experience and consistency to the table. A two-time Pro Bowler and former All-Pro, he spent 8 standout seasons with the Denver Broncos, where he was a cornerstone of one of the NFL's most respected defensive units. Over his career, he has tallied 30 interceptions and over 500 tackles, showcasing both his ball-hawking ability and his knack for stopping plays before they develop. Beyond the stats, Simmons has earned a reputation as one of the smartest players in the league, often quarterbacking the defense from the back end. The Eagles, who struggled last season with coverage breakdowns and injuries in their secondary, now find themselves with a proven leader who can stabilize the unit. Simmons is expected to pair with young standout Reed Blankenship, forming a versatile and dynamic safety duo. His signing also signals that the team is in win-now mode, making aggressive moves in an increasingly competitive NFC East. What makes this acquisition even more significant is the cultural fit. Simmons is known not just for his play on the field, but for his professionalism, leadership, and community involvement. In Philadelphia, a city that demands passion and commitment, Simmons' attitude and character should resonate well with fans and teammates alike. With training camp on the horizon, the excitement around Simmons' addition is palpable. He brings credibility, experience, and a proven track record, qualities the Eagles hope will translate into postseason success. As he steps onto the field at Lincoln Financial Field, all eyes will be on number 31, ready to see if he can be the defensive anchor Philadelphia has been searching for. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.